Hello, and welcome to this week's Talkie Tuesday live. Edit that. Let's restart. Hi, and welcome to this week's Talkie Tuesday live stream with me, your host, Witness SEO. We're gonna get straight to the Warhammers in this one. Straight to the Warhammers. I need to put my glasses on. It's getting hot again in the UK. It dipped off. It's getting warm again. But straight to the Warhammers. The reason why we need to get straight to the Warhammer. That's so dirty. The reason why we need to get straight to the Warhammers in this one is because Steve Not Rob was up at the weekend. Let's talk about the hobby for a bit, actually. Hi, guys. Hi, chat. Good evening, Raging Horn. And Brain in a Jar and Karadhaka, Raging Horn. I think I said that already. Daniel Ragoni. Good evening. And yes, hello. Thank you for joining me. Listen, Steve Not Rob was down at the weekend and we played a game. We actually filmed a game. Good evening. Filmed a game of a second edition Horus Heresy because I may have put a video out and some people may have been shouting at me, why didn't you film one? So I filmed one, okay? So that's coming in a couple of weeks. Don't know when it's coming. I'm interested to see what the numbers do, to be honest, and whether there's anyone interested in seeing a second edition Warhammer Horus Heresy. It's not that I've stopped playing third edition Warhammer Heresy. I've got a lot of Warhammer Horus Heresy third edition coming. It's just that you guys asked for it, so it's coming. And also, I have been playing second edition Horus Heresy behind the scenes with Steve Not Rob. He never moved to third edition. So we've been playing second edition anyway. So I thought, well, let's just film one. And it was a really close game. It was a really good game. Anyway, that's coming. He turned up, right? And he said, I liked your last live stream. Once you actually started talking the Warhammers, cut the shit out at the beginning with all the talk about all the food and all the crap and all the other stuff that's going on. And in a Warhammer live stream, if you get to the Warhammers, it makes it a better live stream. He didn't use those words exactly, but he does have a point. Yeah, it's not often that he has a point. He's from Dorset. If he uses both parts of his brain to talk and breathe at the same time, things get very complicated. He gets wobbly at the knees. But he did have a point. So, and it was kind of crazy kind of compliment. He did say that the second half was quite nice with the Warhammer talk. So what we need to do, chat, is lock in, okay? We need to lock in and get straight to the Warhammers. So we'll get to that in a minute. Because there's a few things I want to talk about this evening. One, I made a mistake in a battle report, okay? And I don't think anyone's made a mistake in Warhammer before, so we need to address this controversy. Quite frankly, it's a PR disaster. I need to get ahead of this before I get all over Tic Tacs and things and the BBC turn up outside the door knocking on. We need to get ahead of the controversy. Second thing I want to do is I had some ideas about narrative, and I want to talk about narrative because another thing, I had a big conversation with Steve and another guy about why Games Workshop can't get the narrative play side of things right. I mean, they do the Crusade, they do the Dominus, they've done things, but it's never really taken off that well. And the people who lock in at them, fair play on the Crusade people, fair play. But there's a lot of rules in there. So we need to talk about the narrative, because I had some ideas. And then finally, I want to get onto some reveals, because we seem to be doing that at the end of each Talkie Tuesday live stream. We're actually talking about some reveals, and you guys like it when I reveal things. So we'll do that. So we're going to go straight to the Warhammers on this one. But first, we need to check in with the chat, see what they're chatting about. Second, I need to do a bit of an intro. There's another life thing I want to talk about beforehand, which is quite good fun. And then we'll go straight so when the title of the stream says straight to the Warhammers, what I mean is almost straight to the Warhammers. It won't be as shit as last week, okay, Steve? We're not going to spend half hour talking about biscuits. We've done the biscuit conversation to death. Quite frankly, people are upset about the whole biscuit debate. And the Americans don't even know what they are, right? Like healthcare. So we'll lock in. Let's see what the chat are chatting about this evening. Potatoes. So, Winters, what's your favourite food? You should really do a Tau versus Eldar. See, to do a Tau versus Eldar, I would need either a Tau army or an Eldar army And then the other person would need either a Tau army or an Eldar army. Then we could do a Tau versus Eldar. But I have neither the Tau army or the Eldar army, despite I'm famously known Farseer Winters and the biggest Eldar fan on the planet out there. I should really get me some Eldar, to be honest. What even is the Warhammer? We're not here for the food talk. Zigzag lines are straight. That's just... How are zigzag lines straight? They're straight, and then the thing. You also want to see the kittens. The kittens... I mean... Can you guys... No, there. Look, see them? We've become a climbing frame for the kittens. I say we... My wife, she wears these long baggy pajamas around the house to be comfortable in, Jimmy Jams, you know, that sort of thing. And they flap in the breeze, and the kittens are treating her like a climbing frame. Her legs look like that she's been on for a forced march through the Katajan jungles. It's shredded down there. It's quite bad. The kittens, though, they've definitely settled in by now, running around all over the place. They're actually sleeping with us in the evening, which is good because you get kittens sleeping in the evening, and it's bad because you get kittens sleeping with you in the evening and waking you up at 1 and at 3 and at 5 and then 7:30 when they decide to attack your toes. It's great. It's good. No idea where they are now. Probably downstairs. But we're not going to see the kittens. I'm not going to grab them. How are you feeling about 11th terrain so far? I like the 11th terrain so far. I like it. That's my feelings on it. My feelings are, oh, this is nice. But I did make a mistake. We need to talk about that because the terrain is a big feature in this edition. And look, if someone's hidden in an item of terrain, they should be harder to hit and not just get improved AP. I mean, in the old days, it was always harder to hit someone when they were in cover or they got some kind of save. Like in the old days, it used to be like a 6-up save when they would never get a save against higher AP. They get a cover. It was always some kind of thing. And only recently did it become an AP thing. Now, I know that means that sometimes the Eldar and the Space Marines might be hitting on 5s because of -1 ballistic skill and -1 to hit. And I know that feels a bit janky. And I know Orcs are just hitting on 6s, but what are Orcs shooting at anyway? Mainly clouds. I know these are the things. And I know if they front load the system, so now the modifier to shooting for cover is at the front of the system, it's to hit, rather than at the end of the system to save, that hits everything downstream. But you can put it one way or you can put it another way. And putting it at the front means it's more impactful. That's what they're doing. They're trying to give a benefit to shooty armies, no, close combat armies, because 40k in 8th edition, 9th edition, 10th edition, it skewed towards shooty armies. It did. And the armies that had much more shooting in were winning the ITCs, GCSEs, WTCs. They were winning those. And close combat armies were struggling. So they've loaded it the other way. Have they gone too far? It'll get balanced. They have said that they are going to balance this edition every month, once a month. For the first 4 months, there is going to be, what are they called? I've forgotten the name, but the updates that they bring out. And there's going to be points. They are going to take a look at it and sort of balance it a bit. But I mean, you can put it at the beginning, you can put it at the end, apples, oranges. Some people obviously hate it. Some people prefer the other way. Some people are frightened of change. Some people actually eat kale, which, let's face it, is a war crime. I'm onto food again. Human rights violations right there. I mean, what the hell is kale? It's... and tea without milk and sugar in it. Like tea with lemongrass and pumpkin seed with a twist of orange. What the hell is that? That's a human rights violation right there. There are lines we should not cross. But putting the modifier at the beginning of the shooting phase or the end of the shooting phase, I like it. And I like it because it feels different. It's the most significant change to this edition, actually putting in that change to terrain. Because let's face it as well, and then I'll jump into the chat. 11th edition is 10th edition, isn't it? It's 10th edition tweaked. It's an improved, I think it's an improved version of 10th edition. It's 10th edition, but a bit better, a bit closer, a bit tighter, a bit it's sharpened around the edges with some changes. The biggest change is the terrain thing. So if that wasn't in there, it would feel very 10th. Right now it feels a little bit tense, but it feels enough of a difference. That's a word, that's a sentence in English. Enough of a difference. It feels different enough that I'm excited to play the game and figure out what the new combinations are, what the new detachments are like, what I can do, how stuff interacts, figuring out all the bits again and what works where and who sleeps with who, those sorts of things. It's enough to make me go, ooh, I want to play this edition and figure out all the bits. What about you guys? What do you think of the terrain thing? Ignores cover, ignores modifiers and turrets still exist, but -1 isn't unassailable. 48-inch plus ranges don't... Yeah, 48-inch ranges probably don't have much of a chance. There's very few fire. Data slates is the thing that's called. Minister and foam magazine, yeah. Kale, I'd rather eat corpse starch. Me too. Probably got more protein in as well. Lap Sang Sushong. We're on to drinks. Had one game, was fun. I like how infantry can get around the battlefield without being shot to crap. Before it felt like everything had to be hidden in a tank. And that's why they've done it. Great answer on terrain. Totally agree. Thanks. Because, there's a tactical genius. It's just all the answers that I give you this evening will be the correct answers. And Sam Nash has been a member for 54 months. Thank you so much for being a member for 54 months. Evening, liking the new edition. May have won a small trophy last weekend. Sam Nash, for those who don't know, is our resident ITC, WTC, AAA, NASA tournament head. I think he's a member of Team Ireland, and he's won a few things. He likes the new edition. 11th edition, competitive play. It's tweaked for competitive play. And I think it's a good edition. I think it's an improved version of 10th. It's got my juices flowing, okay? My juices are in full flow. It gets sweaty in here. It is nice. So thanks, Sam. And thanks for the 54 months. If you would like to become a magical member of the Winters SEO YouTube community, it's a good way to help support your boy, particularly in this economy. It's a good way to help support your boy. And if you want to become a tier 3 channel member, then you also get a extra battle report every single Wednesday. So thank you if you do, and thank you if you are. Played my first game today. Couple of trip ups, especially with terrain. Like the new mix of the match detachments. Yeah, you got tabled, unfortunate, never mind. But at least you had fun. Short range firepower and especially melee is strong in this edition. Yeah. And figuring it all out is the fun part, I think. Titanic units do, however, make a mockery of the terrain. They do. They just look over it. After a few games, I really like how terrain shifts the killy bit of games into turn 3 onwards instead of turns 1 and 2. You're right, actually, because most of the games of 11th edition I've played, turn 1 has turned out not to be as killy as it used to be. Like the Alpha Strike is definitely not there. It's really hard or almost impossible to pull off an Alpha Strike. And also, you kind of almost wanted to go second all the time in 10th edition. Because you could wait for your opponent to move out onto some objectives, and then you could shoot, and then you could get, seize the objective thing, and the other one, and you could get some secondaries, you could get some stuff, you could get some free movement with those assaults. You kind of wanted them to go second. But in this edition, first, second, there's not a lot going on in the first turn. There's a lot of positioning going on in the first turn, a lot of shenanigans going on in the first turn. Then it starts getting killy, and then nothing's left at the end of the game, and I kind of like that. If the turn 1 Alpha Strike isn't there, or, it's not going to be not there, but it's going to be there much less. If it's there less, then that's a good thing, right? Has anyone played Old World? I don't know if those are all similar to 40k or Old World it's old. Old World is like the old. It's old. It's an entirely separate thing. What's up, Jack? Did you decide when you'll fly me to England with Blood Buffalo? Yeah, I'd love to fly you to England with your Night Lords. I really would. I've seen your new stadium, by the way, the Bills' new stadium. Oh, she's a beauty. Generally play mid-board armies, so maybe I'm biased. No, mid-board armies and assault-based armies. Mid-board armies, strong this edition. That's what you've been going for. What armies do you have and which one's your fave? It depends on what I'm playing or painting at the time, honestly. It changes so much. I mean, armies that I have: Space Marines, Admech, Custodes, Imperial Guard, Death Guard, Emperor's Children, Necrons, Orcs, Tyranids, Grey Knights, Knights, Chaos Knights, and some more, one or two more that I'm forgetting. My favourite one to play in the last edition was Emperor's Children because they were so hard to play because it was barely a codex. And that made it fun. And they were brand new, so the 4-year-old inside of me was super excited. So they were brand new. They were really hard to play. It took me a long time to get my head around them. Had a lot of fun with Emperor's Children. I've always enjoyed playing Space Marines in all the editions. I've got a real fondness for the 13th, my homebrew Space Marine chapter. So whenever they get out on the table, fun. Orcs, always fun to play with, always fun to play against. Tyranids, Bug Swarm, or Big Monster Mash, they're really fun as well. Necrons are relatively easy to play, and they feel like Necrons still. You know, like some armies, some of them feel like they lost their identity a bit. Some of them have refound them, like World Eaters, hitting on everything rapid fire, everything short range, everything bad at shooting, but a lot more gun, but they're quick, and their World Eaters have got a bit. So it depends. Right now, I couldn't tell you what my favourite army is to play right now because it's a new edition. I've done a lot of Necrons. I started off with Necrons because they're kind of easiest to play and unforgiving because they get back up again, and there's a lot of invulnerable saves, and they're a solid starter force, and they're easier to paint, I would say. But I couldn't tell you what it is right now. So, Hijacker's words, when I am not early, a wizard is never early or late. A wizard turns up entirely when he's expected to. Turn 1 is pretty much no killing. Yeah, like I said, turn 1, hard to get killing in this edition in the first turn. You know, Emperor's Children are scary in 11th. I think so. I think Emperor's Children with their advance and charge, fall back and charge with their movement shenanigans. I think Emperor's Children with precision are going to be quite good in this edition. I think the ones that are going to be really good, I mean, Death Guard, if they leave their basic rule, which is -1 toughness, -1 strength when you're in contagion range, and it's going to be harder to shoot them at range. And also, you don't get AP in cover anymore, like -ist to AP or +ist to AP by being in cover anymore. So if you're in contagion range and getting shot by Death Guard, it's going to really sting. So I think Death Guard is going to be a strong one. And Raging Horn just gifted 5 memberships. Thank you so much, Raging Horn. Can we get some GGs in the chat for Raging Horn? In this economy, he's just dropping 5 gifted memberships like that. You absolute legend. I love you, Raging Horn. Thank you. I really appreciate it. A like and a thumb up on the stream as well. Apparently, you're supposed to... Will you be sending a lot of Orcs to Den of Imagination for painting this edition? No. Is indirect fire a potential meta cause of London? No, because indirect fire only ever hits on a 4 now. If you've got someone who can see the unit that you're actually shooting at, then you hit on a 4. And if no one can see the thing that you're shooting at, you actually only hit on 6s with indirect fire. So I think indirect fire deliberately took a bit of a nerf bat as well, which is good because it was a bit too prevalent by the end of the last edition. You don't want to have old school army lists. There's something called the Leaf Blower out there, which is way back in 6th edition. It isn't a thing anymore, but it was built around the premise of lots of indirect firepower. There was also direct firepower from, I won't go into the list I did, but there was a lot of indirect firepower which just blew an enemy's army off the table in the first couple of turns, and there wasn't much you could do about it. Is anyone else enjoying the action-based dispositions? Anyone enjoying the action-based dispositions? Bueller? Death Guard rule is broken. I know, right? It is broken. I feel like the Death Guard rule is probably gonna change, maybe. What I would do if I was running the Death Guard Codex, writing the Death Guard Codex, is, so they had a Feel No Pain for the longest time, then they changed it to Contagions. I would go back to a Feel No Pain, but a 5-up army-wide Feel No Pain is strong and can feel bad. But a 6-up wide Feel No Pain, I don't think that'll feel that bad. Say everything in the Death Guard Codex, keep it simple. Like, I mean, their toughness went up as well. Plague Marines went up to toughness 6. Terminators went up to toughness 7. Demon Princes on foot are like toughness 11 or 12. They're quite chonky. So leave the chonky high toughness in there for the Death Guard. Great. But take away the Contagions and the armor and the toughness and that, because that feels more bad than the 5-up Felt No Pain felt bad. And particularly with the changes to terrain in this edition, it's going to sting. What do you guys think? A flat out 6-up Feel No Pain across the art. I don't care if you're a tank. It's like Nurgle. It's spongy. It hits spongy, mossy side of a tank. Or a demon. But a flat... The reason why a 6-up Feel No Pain, what do you guys think, isn't that bad, is because you're not going to roll... You're going to roll 1 in 6 times. But if you do roll those 6s, it will be glorious. You know, it'll be like, yeah, and it just... Not that feels baddy. And you can... It'll give them an identity, the only faction in the entire edition which is just as a flat out 6-up Feel No Pain, I think, because Contagions can really sting. But I don't know what they're going to do with the Death Guard, but that's what I would do. Army wide 6-up with a strat to make it a 5-up. Yeah, you could have a 2-point stratagem or a something stratagem in some of the detachments, because you can only use that stratagem once in the shooting phase and once in the fight phase, and they get a 5-up Feel No Pain. I don't think Death Guard need anything other than some points cuts. Points cuts! Yeah, I think the entire codex needs to be cut down by half in points. Make them double half as cheap, so you can bring twice as many Death Guard. That'd be completely fair. Feel No Pain is better because Contagion range is measured by elevated and shaky hat. Yeah, that's right. Contagion range. Am I really in 3? Am I really in 6? Did I really intend to do that? How far? You're right. Measuring the Contagion range might get a bit... Are you really in? But a 6-up Feel No Pain, done. You know, it's basic. It's simple. Everyone can remember it. Simple identity. That's what I would do. That's what I would do. Change Contagion from 0 inches to 3. What? 6-up Feel No Pain in Contagion range. Yeah, see, look, as a katator, those are lots of words in that sentence there. But again, I like it simple. So, army rules, which you can this is another thing I would do. Army-wide rules that take 1, 2, maximum 3 sentences to explain is all you need. That's all you need. This army gets a 6-up Feel No Pain. That's all you need. Some army rules, like that's why I like the Necrons, is like reanimation. This is all it is. Some army rules get really, really whacked, like the Admech one. You can have some factions where the army rules are a bit wild, a la World Eaters with their blessings of corn, and you roll some dice and you pick 2 blessings. That's a bit wild. But I like, and the reason why I like it simple is because I'm a simple brain. I'm a smooth brain myself. But it's good for the new players. I'm not shouting it out for me mainly. I'm shouting it out for the Timmies. I'm shouting it out so it's as accessible as possible for new people. So this is the army rule for that faction. Dum dum dum. Accessible. One is, yeah. Complexity can come in the detachments and in the cards and in all the other things. But I think army-wide rules should be simple. What do you think of that, guys? I mean, what is the most complex army rule out there? Is it World Eaters? That one actually works quite well. The Admech one is pretty complicated. The Eldar one is pretty complicated with all their movement shenanigans. You know, you have your dice pool and you spend your dice to allow you to do this maneuver or this maneuver or this maneuver and move after you get shot or no overwatch me or da 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 da. I mean, like Eldar, why can't they just say Eldar? Eldar have the fleet rule, and fleet means all your weapons gain. I mean, you could give them all assault weapons, but you don't need to put that into the army rule. But fleet is the old way of doing it. Or a psychic thing. I don't know. I don't know what I do with Eldar. They are my favourite faction. It's hard to think. But I like simple ones. Winners, page 1 rules. When? I'm not. It's more rules. I know they're only 1-page rules. And I know they're doing their own miniatures now. But there's a lot of rules. There's a lot of Warhammer. And a lot of factions and heresy. And I'm dipping my tip into Old World. I'm dipping the tip in. Look, here's a dude. He's going to be an Old World dude. I haven't based him yet. He's going to be an Old World dude. Raging Horn has been a member for 18 months. Thank you for your 18 months, 16 months membership. You absolute legend. I'm interested to know what's the thoughts on the 2 millionth Ultramarines character being released in an edition meant to be featuring Blood Angels. Listen, we are going to get onto the reveals at the end. Raging Horn, that is a very, very good question. I, for one, don't think that there's enough Ultramarines in the world. It's almost like Space Marine 2 was a massive success. And there, Power from Pain for Drakari, different, yeah. Power from Pain was a complicated one. Evening Inquisitor Vex. Ultramarines eating good. They are eating good. Okay, look, Raging Horn. We will do it then. We will do it. Okay. We'll down. I mean, you drop 5 gifted memberships, but let's talk about the new character for Ultramarines revealed by Games Workshop, like yesterday or today. A new Minus Calgar has arrived, and I, for one, think that there isn't enough Minus Calgars in the world. This one is absolutely glorious. Look at him. He's got an axe. He's got a sword. He's got all the bling. There's loads of U's hanging around his belt there. Look, all the U's. A bit of skull, a bit of skullage. You know, we need more Calgar. There is not enough Calgar in the world. I particularly liked the Calgar Expedite models that are coming soon. This guy, I mean, I'm assuming the reason why they've released this model and it's a new Ultramarines guy is this guy going to feature in Space Marine 3? Are we getting a peek of Space Marine 3? Also in Space Marine 3, you see how the armor is really, really, really blinged? Yeah? You can do that in Space Marine 2. You can bling up your armor to the max so your guys look sexy. And Calgar looks sexy there with his sword and his axe. You know? You know? That is a good model. I like it. I know this edition is supposed to feature Blood Angels, but Blood Angels don't need any more characters. What have they got? They got Sanguinius. They've got Corbulo. They've got Lamartis. Are those guys still available? They got Dante, Old Man Dante. Astorath, he's around. The Sanguinor, not Sanguinius. Yeah, that's definitely Calgar, Inquisitive X. That is the new Calgar model. Yeah, look at that. Calgar. He's put down the Gauntlets of Ultramar, and he's now using an axe and a sword. Great model. Calgar Exodites. Blood Angels were never getting an epic hero of the vanilla book. Each Blood Angels character is worth 100 Ultramarines anyway. That's them. They're 100. Particularly if they're consumed by the Black Rage. Yeah. So, yeah. That's my thoughts on the new 2 millionth Ultramarines character being released. It's hot in here. It's hot, guys. Right, listen. We're locking in. We're talking straight into the Warhammers. We've already dived straight into the Warhammers on this stream already. Let's hydrate. It's getting hard in here. Let's keep on all our clothes. Straight into the Warhammers. So I don't annoy Steve, not Rob, and he punches me in the face or something. But there's the thing I wanted to chat about first, as well as dive in the community. The feelings about Right, lock in. What are you guys going on about? Squat half. What do you think of hobbying in the heat? I mean, it's nice sitting in a pile of your own filth, naked, on a leather back chair when it's this hot, you know. You can get some serious movement around, and the aromas coming up from your balls while you're painting away, particularly if you're painting Death Guard. Oh, I like it. Don't shower all day, just dripping. You don't need paint water. I've got my brush, you know, painting away and just water it down by sweat on the chest, and you know you've put in literally not so much blood, but at least sweat and tears into your model while sniffing on sweaty ball sack for hours. It's a glorious thing in this heat. Honestly, it's I think more people should do it. You know what I mean? It's a hobby in itself. Slipping around on a leather chair, sweating, painting. The only thing with me is because I'm so old these days, I have to use these reading glasses, and it was dripping the sweat from my eyebrows onto the glasses every now and then. It's like, just as you're trying to do like a pinprick for an eye, it's like, God damn it, fucking, and like that happened, and then you got nowhere to wipe it because I'm completely naked. So, you know, find a soggy sock somewhere in the corner. Soggy because it's been sweaty. Easy. Soggy sweat sock somewhere in the corner and cleaning it off with that. That's what I do. That's Warhammer talk as well, guys. We're locking in on the Warhammer talk. Right. I regret finding out about Winter's slimy sweat life. Well, how do you guys paint in this heat? What is the secret of painting when it is What is the secret of painting next to Chernobyl's elephant foot when you're just leeching the heat? What do you guys do? What are your secrets of success when it gets really hot? I mean, one of the things you can do is just put down your paintbrush and just give up. But that's for quitters. Never give up painting. Never surrender. You know? Live further north. That is a good shout. You could move north. Yeah. That is a good tip. It's too hot. Let's move the house. I like that one. You could paint in the fridge. Paint in the fridge. Sit in a bath of cold water and paint there. Genius talk. And then you've got the paint water in the bath. Sit in a bath of cold water. I'm a proud painting quitter. I'm a painting quitter. I'm proud of it. Right, guys, listen. Let's lock in. Right, we've got to do the intro. What? North. Yeah, I know, actually. Look, live further north is a good answer to what to do when it's really, really hot. But you are right, Inquisitive X. It is the north. And generally speaking, I try and avoid that place. You know? Generally speaking. A general rule of thumb, don't go north. Arctic Warhammer bunker. And Joseph Truman has a sensible answer. He just dives into painting, loses himself, or doesn't paint. You know? You just dive in. It helps if you've got a lovely audiobook or a set of battle reports to listen to in the background while you're painting away. That's what I like to do. If I've got a nice audiobook or a nice series of audiobooks or a nice number of battle reports lined up to listen to, I will smash out some minis. You know, don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you so much for reminding me to say that. Everyone hit the thumb up button and attach your Twitch primes to your other account thing. Right, listen, guys. I had a great weekend. I played 4 games of Warhammer this weekend. because of you guys supporting the channel, loving the channel, liking the content, support, like, subscribe, becoming members, all that sort of thing. You guys are making the magic happen. Thank you. I only recorded 2 of them. Oh dear. I still play lots of Warhammer off camera, and I played 4 games, recorded 2 of them, and it got me thinking about narrative play, which I want to talk about later on. And why Games Workshop don't get it right. But yeah, that was awesome. Played a lovely game of 3rd edition Horus Heresy yesterday, which came down to the last couple of dice rolls. 5,000 points of Iron Warriors versus 5,000 points of Emperor's Children. I should have recorded it. It was a really close game. And it was a really close game. It was good fun. There was a lot of narrative that happened in it. And then Tech Bro Frank came down. Shout out that guy. And we played a really close game of Necrons versus Salamanders. I used that Necron list you saw in a battle report recently, that Destroyer Necron list. There's a Destroyer Necron list, if you haven't watched the battle report, where all Destroyer cult models in your army get +2 strength to their weapons. It doesn't matter if it's close combat or shooting, they just get +2 strength. That's a good army rule there, or a detachment rule there. So it just makes all their weapons better, and that's it. And then all the strats affect Destroyer cult stuff, so it's a nice clean way to play, and it makes your Destroyers feel stronger. And that was really good. And he was losing. I didn't film this one either, so we're not spoiling anything. But he was losing, and turned it round at the end for a win. Glorious. Should have filmed it. Would have made an awesome battle report. He was too cautious at the start, watching what the Necrons were doing. And I set up a couple of positions behind some buildings, regular jump out, ambush places. So he stayed back from the ambush places. But later in the game, it was getting too perilous for him because he was still behind, so he just went sod it and threw his miniatures forward, and then glorious dice rolling happened, lots of Warhammer happened, and he won it by like 4 points at the end. It was a great game, and I felt so happy then. And I dropped him off at the station. I was driving back, and the sun was nice, and the windows were down, and I just felt happy. And I'm so privileged to do this because of you guys. So thanks. You know, it's nice feeling happy. It's nice feeling anything at all when you're 53. Normally I feel like aches and pains. Normally I wake up in the morning in bed going, oh no, it's another one of these days. When are they all going to end? That's what we normally feel like. Normally I sneeze and put my back out. Okay? Yeah. It can be a struggle when you get really old, but that was a good day. That was a warm, fuzzy feeling inside. That was nice. So thanks for that, guys. Thanks for allowing me to do this. And, yeah. Imagine how Commander Dante feels. Oh, dear. Yeah, Kill Team on camera. I haven't touched Kill Team. You know, played your first GT of Kill Team, had a great time, miraculously won half the game. I should do some Kill Team, shouldn't I? But it's a whole other new set of rules that I have to learn, and I barely can keep up. I've been doing this YouTube thing for over a decade now, and because the factions have like doubled, and because of the detachments for each faction of, well, there used to be 1 or 2, they didn't. There's a lot of rules now. It's almost impossible to keep up with it. Like 10th edition, I did try and keep up with everything all the time, but I think you guys are going to see in 11th edition, I think I'm going to have to pull it in and focus, instead of on 12 armies, try and pull it in and focus on 6 or 7 armies and just try and do them to the best of my abilities. But there's enough guests come around with enough variation all the time. Some wonderful armies turn up here all the time, so we're going to see lots and lots of variations and things. But there's almost too much to keep up with now. I don't know how you guys feel. What with all the chapter approved articles, what with the constant 3-year cycles, What with... I mean, the New Orc Codex has got 17 detachments in it. That's 17 different ways to play orcs. How many stratagems? I don't know. That's one faction. One. Fanto, sir, welcome to the chat. He's been a member for 11 months. You absolute legend, you. Believe that Games Workshop didn't forget about their Ultramarine selection and announced another character. I imagine that everyone was super excited to see a blue Space Marine after months of Games Workshop hyping up the Blood Angels. I'm not bitter. You're a pro. You can do Cheeky Kill Team with the 13th or Nurgle Marines. Yeah, but a professional what? Evening, strange come knock in. If you had to pick one kill team, which would it be? Eldar Exodites. Because Eldar are the greatest faction in the game. And they ride dragons. I've got Blood Angels, Red Corsairs, Space Wolves and Orcs. And that is way too much for me. That's what I mean. You know what I mean? Like, you got 4 armies. And all the detachments in those armies. And the constant churn. It's really hard to keep up. With Warhammer right now. It's so hard. I need to focus in. You know? I need to focus in. Anyway, talking about focusing in, guys. I made a mistake. So we talked about terrain earlier in the chat. And I want to address this. What? What's on the docket for today fight? Yeah, so we're going to talk. I need to talk about the mistake I made. We're going to mention some. I want to talk about narrative, and we're going to mention reveals. We're going to get to the reveals. That's what's on the docket. I could do an Eldar Exodite. Yeah, I mean it's sci-fi dragons. Incredible. So, right. I want to apologise for the internet because in the latest battle report that came out on Sunday, I made a mistake with the terrain rules. Okay? It clearly says, if you go to the terrain section, actually, I think you'll find that if you go to the terrain section where it mentions terrain and visibility, it says models get the benefit of cover if they're infantry, beasts and swarms and they're within a terrain feature. Not wholly within, but within. If they're infantry, beasts and swarms and they're within the terrain area, you get cover. Or if this, because it says meets one or more of the following criteria. So that's one criteria, infantry, beasts and swarms within, not wholly within the terrain feature, gets a benefit cover, -1 ballistic skill. Or the model is not fully visible due to the attacking model because it's going through intervening terrain features. And we had the avatar. So the avatar was like that. And the Keeper of Secrets was like that. Touching the edge of terrain. And they were getting cover. Even though they're getting shot from this angle. And they shouldn't have got cover. If they were infantry, beasts and swarms and they were touching cover, they would be in cover. And they would have -1 ballistic skill. But in this case, because they're not infantry, beasts and swarms, and they're not obscured by the terrain by being around the edge or something, they shouldn't have had -1 ballistic skill in some of the shooting that happened. Now, the reason why, in my defense, what I was thinking of was this image here, where it shows a tank in terrain, and it says that tank is in terrain. So it has an OC, that one on the corner. So I was confused by that, and I was also confused by the 10th edition rule set, because the 10th edition rule set is within terrain, not within terrain, and that was it. Pardon me. Every edition that changes some rules from one edition to the last edition. I don't know what it is, but my brain breaks. It just breaks. It's like it's written there clearly. This is when you get the benefit of cover. And then I just didn't, and I read it and I said, look, Chris, does that makes, and he was like, yeah. And then we clearly didn't read it. It's just, it doesn't matter how clearly they write the rules. I mean, have you guys made any mistakes with the terrain yet? Have you made any mistakes with 11th edition yet that you've picked up yet? Is it just me? I read it and it just, I've got to, I'm a professional. I've got to get better at this thing and not make mistakes and put those videos on the internet, because there was at least 3 shooting attacks where the Keeper of Secrets would have been easier to hit, even though he didn't do anything to the Avatar, and the Avatar pooned him in 1 hit and that was it. The other Keepers of Secrets hidden behind, and the other units were definitely hidden behind with -1 ballistic skill because of that massive piece of terrain in the middle of the table. But that one on the edge shouldn't have been getting cover. My bad. I'm terribly sorry. Please forgive me. You've never made any mistakes. No, never. I'm getting ahead of the 10 o'clock news. You're right, Fanto, because it was a PR disaster, to be honest. The BBC are going to come knocking, okay? I need to hand up to my mistakes. I made a mistake. But I'm sharing my mistakes with you guys so you don't make the same mistake too. Not that you probably would, because you'd probably read the rule book as it is saying do this or do this, and then you get the benefit of cover. And if you read those 2 simple, very well-written sentences, then you won't make the same mistake as me. I'm perfect. I've never played a game of 11th. Good. What is 11th? Exactly. It's your mistake was missing the stupid sexy Flanders simple look, I missed the Simpson reference, but I got the Randy the spooky ghost reference from South Park, and I thought that was funnier. Can't feel bad about the rules mistakes. If you don't know the rules, you're mistaking. I know, I didn't. And we're looking at the thing. We're doing the thing. It's when the additions, it's just, have you ever been to a game with a friend or an event and you're doing your thing and you've played something one way all the time and they turn around to you and say, no, actually, this is the way you've played. And then you take a look at it and you open up the rules and you think, you're absolutely right. I've been getting it wrong for the last 6 months. I felt like a noob. Got to lock in. To be fair, me and my bro got confused with the fast rolling thing for a bit. Yeah. Basically thought Makari gave his whole unit a 2+. It's ectoplasm. It's a spooky ghost. I haven't made any mistakes because I haven't played a game yet. That's a good way of not making any mistakes, never playing a game. Most people don't play. Most people paint, collect, watch stuff on YouTube. Like, I watch people play other games on YouTube as well as the 40Ks, like video games and stuff. I like Will from work. He's a great guy. So yeah, there's the mistake. I'll hold my hands up to it. I'm sorry I made that mistake. It might pop up in the next battle report on Sunday. Will it? Which one is on Sunday? No, I think we got it right by that one. Tomorrow for Tier 3 channel members, though, is Imperial Knights versus Iron Hands 4,000 point Horus Heresy battle report. That's tomorrow. That comes down to the last dice roll as well. And after our last Horus Heresy battle report where we had Imperial Knights and we didn't play a 3rd Ed mission, this time we thought we'd play a 3rd Ed mission. And it's really close. So that's tomorrow. No mistake will ever be worse than Winter's adding milk before water when making tea. Listen, Nurgle for Life, we've talked about this ad infinitum on this channel. There is a correct way of making tea. And there is an incorrect way of making tea. And the correct way of making tea is milk, tea bag, hot water. That way you know what your milk to water consistency is like. If you put in the milk afterwards, you might have overbrewed the tea. You might have stirred it too much. It's the only way you know to make the perfect tea. There's a right way, and there's the heretic's way, and I'll send Lord Inquisitor Vex round to exterminate your house, okay? The correct way is not using a microwave, definitely not a gator. That's Americans for you. We do not use microwaves to make tea. Ah, dear. Makari is a serious issue now with precision. Being able to take him from the back of the line with his 2-up invulnerable save and move him to the front. So the first of one. Yeah. Yeah, some things are going to need to tweak. Your grave rules mistake is not using them. Look, we're not using. You're both repeating yourself about microwaves, and you use a kettle and a bone china teapot. Make sure you've warmed up the teapot before you pour the hot water in, or you'll scorch the tea. So you've warmed your teapot, preferably in an oven beforehand, and you can keep your teapot in a teapot case as well. Keep it nice and warm. Then you add the hot water to the pre-warmed tea. Okay, bone china as well, absorbing all the flavors nice and correctly. And then milk first, then add the tea, and then you get the perfect consistency. Who's butchering tea? Exactly. Red kettles boil faster. You don't use air conditioners to make... Look, air conditioners are illegal in this country. We talked about it on last week's live stream or the week before. Air conditioners are illegal. You're not allowed them here, okay? I know there are some ridiculous laws in the UK, like it's illegal to use air conditioners. I know. But there are some ridiculous laws in Freedom Land as well, like Kinder eggs are illegal over there, okay? That's just ridiculous. We all have our share of ridiculous rules. Have you ever seen Germans cross a road and there's no cars coming? They'll press the button, they'll wait for the red man to turn into a green man. No cars! It could be 3 o'clock in the morning and you haven't seen a car for an hour. They will stand there. And when the red man turns green, then they'll cross. Ridiculous laws in some country. But who are we? We're just all ridiculous people, really. There's just a bunch of ridiculousness going on. Okay? It's fine to be ridiculous. And Kinder eggs are fine as well. And air conditioning is illegal. I don't make the rules. We sweat to death as God intended. Kinder eggs are not illegal in Freedom Land. I thought the internet told me that Kinder eggs are illegal in Freedom Land. Right, someone Google it. Are Kinder eggs? I'm asking Google. Sorry about this, guys. We have to lock into the... I said straight to the Warhammers, but we have to answer the important questions, right? Which are Kinder eggs illegal in America? Are Kinder eggs banned? And it even came up at the touch of the search. Yes, original Kinder Surprise eggs are illegal to sell or import into the US under the 1938 Federal Food, Drugs and Cosmetic Act. The US bans any confectionery product that contains a completely non-nutritive object embedded inside it due to choking hazards. Boom. However, you can legally buy a variation of the treat called Kinder Joy across the US. In these, the chocolate and the toy are separated into 2 distinct sealed halves of the egg-shaped packaging. If you try to bring the original Kinder Surprise, which contains the fully enclosed toy surprise in the middle of the egg, into the country, US Customs and Border Protection may confiscate them and shoot you in the face. That's what it says in Google. Maybe without the shoot in the face bit. Facts. It says that on the internet, so it's a fact. Chat. Hi, Tazanara. Fact. What does SEO stand for? Winter's SEO. What does the SEO stand for? Because that was in the Discord as well, which was hilarious. It was on the internet. Where's that, chat? Because the internet is 100% right. Raging Horn, I like what you put in the Discord. Where was that tweet? That thing in the thing? Was it in Ask Winters? Okay, lock in, guys. Lock in. You lock in. I'm doing some stuff. I'll get back to you. Where are we? Here we go. Chat GBT. Stephen Edward Owen. Yeah. So when... Ask Chat GPT what SEO stands for. And apparently it's the creator's initials. These are my initials apparently. Stephen Edward Owen. So the Winters SEO simply means Stephen Edward Owen Winters or Stephen Winters using his middle initials. It isn't a marketing term or reference to the website SEO, even though it often confuses new viewers because SEO is a well-known acronym. The channel itself focuses on Warhammer battle reports, horror accessory battle reports, and hobby content, not search engine optimization. That is according to ChatGPT. It's on the internet. It must be true. I'm changing my name to Stephen Edward Owen. If it's on the internet, it must be true. Gravity is fake, you know. And also COVID was fake. They did that so they could change all the batteries in the birds. Isn't it Swindon Elite Ops? Yeah, but don't say it. I know, but ChatGPT... Look, Christian Kapang, you're more cleverer than ChatGPT right now, okay? Just don't let... Let Stephen Edward Owen is a good... That's like, I feel like James Bond then, like I could get away with crimes or something. Because they won't know my name. Oh dear. Right, what else were we talking about? Warhammers. If you're the, what? Yeah, I know. Yeah, right, okay. Narrative. Lock in. Hydrate. Chat. I wanted to talk about narrative a little bit. Warhammer time, exactly. Straight to Warhammer all the time, because Steve Not Rob said the bit of the content on the live streams that wasn't Warhammer was shit. So stick to the Warhammer on a Warhammer live stream. So here I am sticking to it. Thanks, Steve. Good feedback, by the way. Story time? No, not story time. Just narrative. I want to talk about narrative in games of Warhammer 40k. And the reason why I want to talk about narrative in games of Warhammer 40k, because I don't think Games Workshop are very good at it. I'm not saying that they haven't been good at it or they can't be good at it. I'm saying just generally speaking, when it comes to narrative play, they're not very good at it. And let's face it, 11th edition is designed from the ground up to be more competitive. It's fairer, it's balanced. And also, if you make a game that's fairer and more balanced, and the points are closer, and the exceptional rules which really skew things are focused and removed or tweaked, or it means that a closer game, more competitive game is fairer for new people coming into the hobby, and it's less likely that little Timmy who turns up to the game store with his newly painted army or his grayscale army doesn't get blown away by that guy. Because back in the day, people forget, back in 5th, 6th, 7th, there was a lot more. I mean, that guy is always out there. That guy always exists. But the stories about that guy, you would hear a lot more. I'd see it in the Discord, see it in the comment section, I played 2 games of Warhammer 40k, got tabled in 2 turns, and both of them I'm never playing this game again. Also, terrain was much more of a shooting gallery now. They talk about the terrain in this edition, which is very dense, -1 ballistic skill, and very dense, to try and make it more. But terrain in the previous edition was pretty dense compared to what it was back in the day. New players, not all the time, but you would hear stories a lot of the time of new players turning up to events and getting absolutely pooned. So a tighter, stronger, more focused, points efficient game is good for all players. Then it comes down to the missions. You can have narrative missions and you can have competitive missions. When you have the rule set like Warhammer 40k is, if you're trying to build a narrative from the ground up, what you need to do is look at the missions and the settings, and that's about it. if you build a system, a whole crusade system, which has got a lot more homework in it, it will only appeal to a subset of narrative players, a small section of narrative players, and it has, and it does, and those small subset of narrative players really like it. Been in the comment section, been on live streams, Crusade players calling me out for saying that not a lot of people play that game. Many Crusade players, there's a group of 10 of them, there's a group of 20 of them, and they've been playing a Crusade or a campaign for a year. There is juice in that orange. Okay, people are drinking that vitamin C back, and they're getting quite hyped about it. But it's a subset, the D&D subset way of playing Warhammer 40k, because Warhammer Crusade was a D&D sort of way of playing Warhammer. Here's the way you level up, here's the way you do your characters, here's the way you do it. It's like someone looked at D&D in Games Workshop and said, hey, that's a successful system, how can we make our game a bit more like that? And that's not what you do. It's not. Monopoly doesn't try to be Scrabble. Scrabble doesn't try to be Risk. They've got a portion of the market. Hey, how can we turn Scrabble? Let's have Scrabble boards on a map, on a Risk map of the world, and play Scrabble Risk. You don't. That's not. No. So the D&D Crusade kind of thing is a piece of the puzzle. Another thing so I don't think that is what most narrative players want. That's what some narrative players want, not what most narrative players want. Another thing that what most narrative players don't want as well is most narrative players don't want completely unfair list comp either. So you might run into this kind of guy at a narrative event. Hey, I've turned up with my narrative army. It's got all 4 Catans and bricks of wraiths with technomancers in. Because the narrative in my head is all the Catan shards were shattered at the same time with the technomancers that had wraiths floating around. So my tomb world is just full of wraiths and technomancers and Catan shards. That's my narrative. You run into those kind of narrative players from time to time. Hey, here is my army which is going to fall on your head like Mount Everest dropped from orbit. And no, it's really narrative because Mount Everest, it's got a name on it and it's really heavy, and it's not about those dick kicking narrative lists as well. That's not what most narrative players want. So when you build narrative Warhammer 40k, the first thing that you must put into it is comp. You must put some restrictions on some things. Like take knights out of it, take Catans out of it, take certain detachments out of it. But you must put some comp on it, because otherwise people will abuse the crap out of it. When I do narrative events, I like to take out epic heroes and titanic units for a couple of reasons. It's nice if you get rid of epic heroes or name characters out because, well, there's a couple of reasons. One is I don't want it to be about Calgar or Dante or whatever. I want it to be about your heroes, your stories. 2, the threat at the place that we're going to, or the narrative, the threat where the story is set is such that Calgar ain't going there. Guilliman isn't going there because everybody can die. Because so that the Calgars and the Gullimans and the Farseer Eldrads, they're the ones that have sent you there because it's very grim in the dark. So if you've been sent to a no hope, everybody's going to die suicide mission, everybody's definitely going to die suicide mission, then the High Lord of Terror, Lord Solar, isn't riding in there on his own. You know, Lord Solar is not riding into the Vigilus Gulf. Lord Solar is not getting on his horsey and riding across the battlefields of Armageddon. He's on the next planet in the next star system, directing traffic from there. He's not down on the surface. Calgar might be, and Dante might be, because Space Marines are built diffy. But but narrative campaigns, take out the epic heroes, make it about your stories, and make it grimdark. The setting grimdark. Titanic units can squiff. army selection as well, because let's face it, you can build lists that can wreck Titanic units. You can build a list that has lots of las cannons or lots of lethal or it's easy to wipe out a knight army if you've got all the tools to wipe out a knight army. Bad for the knight player. But it's also really hard to wipe out a knight army if you've got barely any tools to take on a knight army. Bad for the person going up against knights. Now, if you're doing a competition, if you're doing a GTC thing, ITC, whatever, then you're expecting it, you're prepped for it, and you've got some mitigation against some either really high toughness, low model count armies, and you've got some mitigation against really low toughness swarmy armies. You've built that into your lists or into your game plan. But a narrative event, you need to mitigate against that. So with these things in mind, when you're building your narrative, when Games Workshop builds a narrative, you need a place. Armageddon's a good place. Gehenna's a good place. The Damocles Gulf is a good place. You need a place and you need stakes. And the stakes need to be grim and dark. If you're doing a narrative thing like Vigilus, then kill a world. Or have some Noctilith Blackstone. See, look, a good narrative event for Games Workshop would have been set on the fall of Cadia. So everybody knows what happens at the end with Cadia. But you could set that there should be a narrative fall of Cadia. There should be a narrative the First Tyrannic Wars. There should be a narrative devastation of Baal. There should be a narrative for Huron Blackheart and the Badab Wars and the Maelstrom. There should be, and the narrative books should be full of narrative and maps and have a place, a setting where it is desperate and we know the result. And the result is most people die. And the chances of you and your army actually getting out of there are slim to none. And if you get one guy out of there or a couple of units out of there at the end of the campaign or at the end of the battle, you're doing well. It's called Grimdark. It needs to be really, really Grimdark. That's what narrative players want. They want a place, they want a setting, and they want it to be horrible. That's what most want, because when the stakes are at their highest, and I don't mean the stakes for the galaxy as a whole, Leviathan is now coming under the whole plate, or that doesn't mean, I mean the stakes for you on a personal level are really, really high. It's very unlikely that stuff is going to live. When the stakes for you are high, which is why, again, why Calgar or Dante or Guilliman aren't going in there, because it's into the eye of a black hole in the center of the galaxy, and they can send a warp MacGuffin to get you into the center of the galaxy to take on the Votan, but there's no way you can get back from the center of the galaxy out of there because the warp MacGuffin sends you one way but not the other way, so the whole thing into the heart worlds of the Votan to do the thing you're doing and take out that AI core. You might succeed, but you're not getting back. Everybody's going to die. Project Hail Mary, that sort of thing, you know? Setting, stakes, and then the mission, the rules, the narrative itself. You don't need many of them. You need a few twists. You need a few surprises. You need a rule mechanic or two. And that's it. That's how you build a good narrative. So the book should have lots of story in it. They should have lots of maps in it. And they could have 20, 30 missions in. And some at kill team level, some at combat patrol level, some at bigger level, some at apocalypse level, with a few twists and surprise and mechanics in, with a few stratagems in, with a few rules in per mission. Because it's not about building up your force D&D style, and it's not about having 4 wraiths, full 4 Catans and loads of wraiths steamrolling someone with a narrative list which is allowed at this narrative event. It's not about that. It's about emergent narrative. And I think this is the part that most narrative players like. And I think this is the part that Games Workshop misses. It's the emergent narrative that happens on the tabletop when you're rolling dice. It's the dice telling the story. So if you've got a nice setting and if the stakes are high, and if you're not bombarding your narrative players with too many more extra rules, just a few twists, just a few mechanics, they're going to make the narrative happen by themselves because they want to, because they're narrative players, and the dice will tell the story. Emergent narrative. Here we go. Here's what got me thinking about it. So I was talking to someone the other day, and they were saying they're trying to turn Warhammer into an e-sport because they're seeing how successful esports are. So, hey, let's make Warhammer an esport. But you know what video games are more successful than esports? They're the not esports. I mean, Call of Duty League, the COG League, and CSGO, they're mega successful and they get loads of views on YouTube. But orders of magnitude more successful than them is Fortnite, is Minecraft, is Grand Theft Auto. Grand Theft Auto is not competitive. Minecraft is not competitive. What you've got is massive sandbox worlds where the narrative emerges on its own. Emergent narrative. GTA, the new one coming out this year, is going to impact the global economy. There's going to be so many people taking time off work. I watched a YouTube video on it. It was like the GDP of the world is going to drop by 1% or 2% when GTA hits because so many people will be on holidays. GTA 5, the one that's out now, I think it's number 5, has been a top 10, has not left the top 10 selling video game charts for 12 years. It's a 12-year-old game. And there's not really one competitive thing about it. Yes, you can go to GTA Live and run around in the community and shoot cruise missiles from subs at each other. There's all sorts of things that you can do on the online GTA Live, but you're not winning that game. You're playing a game in a sandbox environment where these emergent things happen. And Fortnite, yes, you do win the battle royale at the end, but it's the emergent stories that happen across it. It's the weird and wonderful things and the wacky things that happen while you're playing it, as well as the competitive. There's competitive Fortnite as well, and then Minecraft and things like that. There's good narrative is emergent narrative. Good narrative is giving your players a massive sandbox to play in and letting them go for it. And you know what universe has got a massive sandbox? Warhammer. Warhammer has got a huge sandbox. It's got 10,000 years of history or more. It's got so many factions, you need to take your socks off to number them all. It's big enough that you can have your esports competitive play missions where everything is as it is, and where you could release a crusade system with some proper narrative in it and a ton of missions in it, which are just sandboxy missions with a few twists or mechanics of things. Or instead of releasing the Dominatus mission deck, instead there could just be 2 Maelstrom of War decks in there, one for your opponent, one for you, where these are the orders that you're going to be fighting on. There's no primaries. You put the objectives down and you see what the orders are for high command. See, they redid Maelstrom of War in a White Dwarf. And I printed it all out, and we were thinking about doing it with Sultan, and we never played it because it wasn't old school of Maelstrom of War. It was trimmed down, more competitive Maelstrom of War, making sure that you don't overscore this or you don't underscore that, or you don't. Narrative players loved the Maelstrom of War stuff because telling you to go and get that objective, sometimes you couldn't. Telling you to do a thing over here, sometimes you couldn't. The orders from high command broken down. Or open war decks where here's a wild different ways of deploying, here's wild different missions, here's a bunch of different twists, go. Those they got right. I don't know how many they sold though. Did they not sell enough Maelstrom cards? Did they not sell enough open war decks to make it worth it? Did they shift 100,000 units of them? Or did they not shift enough? Which is why we've never got it back. Because 40k is such a big sandbox of a narrative. And the core rules for Warhammer 40k are solid enough and balanced enough that, and fair enough, that with some restrictions on the narrative comp, you can play really good narrative missions. So why can't we have both? Why can't we have competitive play and narrative play in Warhammer 40k? I think there's room for both. And if you're considering of building a narrative thing for you and your community, I would focus in on those things I said, which are settings, stakes, make some restrictions on some of the stuff that isn't broken but can feel overpowered if you put it in there. And don't overcomplicate the missions too much. When I run narrative events, don't overcomplicate the missions too much. Make sure there's plenty of surprises, make sure there's plenty of twists, make sure that the pendulum can swing one hell of a one way or one hell of another way. And narrative players will love that because the dice are telling the story. And the dice, when they're rolling, will tell the story. So yeah, that's what I think about narrative play. What do you guys think? Over to the chat. We might clip that one as well. How far into this are we? What's the time? The last one we clipped went down quite well. It's 9 o'clock. I think we're about an hour and 20 in. But yeah, I was thinking about that as well because the two games that I didn't film, chat. Over to you. What do you guys think? There was a real emergent narrative from the Salamanders versus Necron games that I played where Frank was on the back foot and on the back foot and on the back foot. Then he thought, fuck it. And he came flying out of the gates. Loads of shit died. And he pulled it back at the end. The dice told that story. And then I had a challenge. We had Horus Heresy. We did some challenges. Me and Alex were fighting away. And Loken and Khan were fighting each other in a challenge. They both went down to one wound. And Khan killed Loken. But Loken is a special rule. On a 50-50 chance, he can get back up again. And in this edition, it's not at the end of the phase. He immediately gets back up again. So Loken stood back up again. The coin toss, the tossed coin, it came up heads. And he took Khan down. And that was an emergent. And that was beautiful. And then the next turn, Lucius charged in and challenged him and killed him. Which is like the cherry on the cake. Is even more story. You know? It was like, yeah. It's just the stories emerge through the dice rolling and the games you play. And I think narrative players know that and play the game that way. They want I want the dice to have lots of ones or sixes. I want to see that. I don't care if the ones happen to me or my opponent or the sixes happen to me. I don't care. I want to see when I'm playing. I play a lot of Warhammer and I want to see the Warhammer up on the table. I've been saying that a lot in the battle reports recently. I've got to pull back that saying because I've been saying it a lot, maybe too much in the battle reports. But I like it when Warhammer happens. I like it when the crazy things happen and the tank blows up or this thing. I like Deadly Demise. It's a great rule. I want to see it happen more. I keep getting ads and wind up like 20 minutes late. I don't know how it does that. Have you seen the Maelstrom book? Whose character creation? That Lucius. Well, Lucius is a scamp. Yeah. Yeah. What do you guys think about? Do you play narrative? What do you think about narrative play? Sorry if you can hear that outside. What do you think makes narrative play? What could make it better? What could make it worse? Thoughts on narrative play? Do you want to see more of it? Do you want to see less of it? What makes good narrative to you? What doesn't make good narrative to you? Do you think narrative is an emergent sandboxy, more of that? Or do you think it needs fine structure? And I think that's a portion. I think that's a subset of narrative play. Fine structure, leveling up, I think that. You know, I don't think. I mean, don't make D&D for no. My most favourite story from gaming is my elite grots charging a squad of Terminators, killing half and winning the assault. The dice telling a story. The Spets grots. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Love narrative games. Use some form of your ideas. I've used ChatGPT and played a few narrative made-up campaigns. Yeah, for those of you who are in the Discord, there is a missions tab in the Discord with all the missions that I've ran at events. Some of them are silly ones, which are not narrative events, just meetups, community events, like King of the North or March of Winters, things like that. Some of them are those missions. Some of them are the narrative missions that we've played. I really should film one, I think, and stick it on the channel, film one of my narrative ones. And Def prefer narrative. More Maelstrom to get Star Games, please. I'm pro narrative. Yeah. I think, yeah, so there's missions in the thing if you guys want to check it out. Yeah. Narrative games tend to be more feel good. Even if one player gets stomped, at least they've been part of a story. Yeah, see, Stuart, that's a really good point, because I've played narrative games before where the narrative has been set up that you lose. Like, this is an attack defend mission, but you're going to get unlimited things and you're going to kill me. I'm going to lose this, but I need to hold out until turn 4 at least to have a draw. And then if I hold out till turn 5, then I've managed to evac the princess or inquisitor, and then I win. And then I get completely killed. You can have narrative games where you know you're going to lose. But narrative also, when you're playing a game and it's all going horribly wrong, it's like, okay, that's what the dice are telling me. This, I have to fall back. I have to do this. What I'm going to try and do, even though I'm losing and falling back into it, is I'm going to try and kill Dante. Whatever happens in my life, I'm going to try and kill Dante. Let's get rid of that guy. And get your tiny victories that way, you know? Narrative is lovely. What Games Workshop's done to it, and Crusade is shameful. Shameful. Shame. Shame. Having a campaign be play a tourney over a weekend. Yeah, look. That deck, that Dominatus deck, is 3 missions, play a mini tournament with a War Master. So in order to play that narrative deck that they've released in the Dominatus box, you need 3 players. One of them's a War Master. Who organises all the things. And it's a 3-game system, a mini tournament over a weekend. That's what they think narrative play is. A mini tournament. What? Do they have any narrative play writers in the rules department at all? Is there anyone in there who is a... I mean, there might be some in there who say, yeah, I play narrative from time to time. But are they the kind of people who bring 4 Catans and saying, oh, yeah, that's a narrative list, and here's the XYZ reason why my army's got 4 Catans in it. Oh, yeah, I play narrative, and I've got all 4 greater demons because in my demon list, because here's my XYZ reasons for bringing all 4. You know, have they got those? I mean, narrative players, not people who say they play narrative, but people who really don't care if they lose. I mean, it's nice to win, but if you're playing a narrative thing, who cares if you lose? That's the story that comes out of it. I mean, Jackus Woods, I don't know if he's still in the chat, but at the last event, he lost every single game. There was only a few people who got the 4 badges as shame. I think there was 3 of them that got 4 badges as shame, losing every single game. And he said it was the best event he's ever been to in his life. And that was the story of his thing. He tried to do XYZ and it kept falling apart and kept falling apart and kept falling apart. And he had those magical moments. He had those emergent sandbox moments appear. He had those, and he was buzzing by the end of it. And yeah, you can't, if you only enjoy when you're winning, then you're going to lose. I thought they were medals. They were medals, Jackus Woods. Those 4 things were medals because you were a goddamn hero. Goddamn hero. You can't win every single game you play. And if you're sad at every single loss of every game you play, you're going to be half sad half the time. But what you can do is try and enjoy every single game you play, win, loss, lose, draw, whatever. You can try and enjoy every single game you play. And I'd argue that narrative players are more like that. Narrative is my favourite played away. The group I roll dice with pretty much only play narrative. My other favourite narrative moment was, yeah, we did that one, was when I charged a melee armour with Tau. You charged with Tau and they survived 3 assault phases. Nice. Dante's been trying to kill Dante for years and it can't be done. Yeah, I forgot that deck was in the box, the Dominatus one. Yeah, I mean, I've looked at it twice now, gave it a proper look at the Dominatus one and thinking I'm not. I mean, do I do a Dominatus campaign from that box? Do I do one on the channel? Do I? Was that the Crew Army player who lost every game? Yes, it was. And he had a great time. I don't think the support for it will be much better in 11th given how awful the card deck is. That's what I mean, just like an open war deck or a Maelstrom of the War deck or just some missions. And then when you open it up, you know, that little pamphlet inside. That little pamphlet inside can say, for narrative games, we strongly advise that you don't bring 3-point detachments, force disposition detachments. And we strongly advise that you limit the use of Titanic units to 1. No hard and fast rule, but it could be put in there, you know. The worst one I had was a player that cheered when I had to drop out of a tournament through illness. Their response was maximum points for me, yay. What a see you next Tuesday. What an absolute see you next Tuesday. Raging Horn has dropped a tenner in the chat. A tenner in the chat. Thank you, Raging Horn. That is a Raging Horn right there. GG's in the chat for Raging Horn. Thank you, sir. I appreciate you. In this economy, thank you. One of my funniest games was a Krieg trying to arrest an unorthodox inquisitor who was binding a demon host. The demon host was an NPC, randomly jumping across the table, doing many bad things to both factions. There you go, see? So little twists or surprises or mechanics. That's a good little story there. Little twists, surprises or mechanics in your game where you've got a demon host randomly jumping across the table doing many bad things to both factions. Perfect. It's like the Relic, but the Relic attacking you, if anyone remembers the Relic mission. Perfect. Love that little thing. And then the story just explodes out of there. Yeah. It's made for 5 games, but you could just do it in 3 if someone get... Yeah, is it made for 5? Please don't. I've taken dumps with more story in that box. First time using scatter dice, it was such a laugh. Yeah, scatter dice are good fun. Scatter dice let Warhammer happen. Let horrible things happen. And horrible is good, it's grim in the dark. You should do the Dominatus campaign, but show how to make it better than what Games Workshop did. I'm not sure I have the skills for that. I mean, without getting it and burning it and saying, oh, it's the Dominatus campaign, right, we'll just burn it. Right, this is what you should do instead. I'm not sure I can make it better. I think just, yeah. Have to work to the story to make, yeah, it's a tough one. It's a tough one. Games Workshop wouldn't appreciate being shown up like that. Yeah, you could. No, you see, I mean, I could. But I just get that feeling. I pick up that box and look at it and go, I've been enthused by 11th. I want to play 11th. Okay? I've had fun games. I've been playing more Warhammer than I've been filming. For this weekend, filmed 2 of them. Loving the Warhammers. Enthused with 11th edition. Looking forward to my next couple of games. I pick up that Dominatus box. I picked it up again and read it again. And I went, it doesn't fill me with enthusiasm. That's not the feeling I want to get with my hobby, with my Warhammers. So I put it to one side. And I'm hoping we get something different, aka better, further down the road. Stuart Fields, thank you for being a member for 32 months, you absolute legend. I was just writing that you should make the deck better, but it out loud. Throw it out the window and write your own again. Yeah, that's the other thing. Like, if I'm going to do the Dominatus thing, why not throw it out the window and just do this instead? This is what we're doing. It's just easier, you know? I'm not doing Conflict 47. It's a whole other system. I am only just now getting into Old World. There is about 10, 12, there's about a dozen Old World battle reports on the channel. If you're interested, there's a full-on playlist, okay? So we have got quite a bit of Old World on the channel, but I wasn't playing them, I was filming them, and I was learning the rules, and I've read the rule book a few times, and I'm ready to go. I am going up to see, say, hi Paul. Me and Sultan, we're driving all the way up to the deep cold north next week. No, this week on Saturday. On Saturday, me and Sultan are going up north, seeing Say Hi Paul. Shout out that guy. Check out Say Hi Paul's YouTube channel. What a legend. Really looking forward to going up there. The idea is, Sultan had booked in to play Say Hi Paul, an Old World thing. I'm tagging along. Convince Say Hi Paul to play with Beastmen, because I've got a Beastman army, so that I can play with Paul against Sultan. It's only going to take about 2 days to film, knowing Say Hi, because Say Hi Paul, he talks, I'm a talker, Sultan's a talker. It's going to take 11 hours. It's going to take a long time. Really looking forward to that one. Lads on tour, get to see Say Hi Paul again, brilliant. And get to learn Beastman. Essentially, I'll be the tactical genius directing traffic. Paul will know all the rules, but it'll be an absolute trouncing for Sultan. Between mine and Say Hi Paul's combined brains, I would not want to stand in front of that. It would be humiliating. So that's what's happening there. Going up to see him. We're just dipping the tip into Old World, and then I can start playing a bit of Old World. We've got other ideas coming up. I've got a lot of friends as well, like Warsmith Chris, Mikey P, Stylus, that guy. There's loads of old school Winters SEO players that you saw back in 8th and 9th that have fell out of love with Warhammer 40k and are doing the Old World. I want to play with my friends, and a lot of them are playing Old World. So I've got an Old World army. So I'm dipping the tip into Old World. Just one faction, just one faction, just one faction. I've always played 40k. I'm always going to be playing 40k. We're going to be locked in on the 40k. Any edition. There are better editions. There are worse editions. There are some editions I prefer. Some editions, I wouldn't say there was bad editions. Some people will say some editions are absolutely shite. And those people leave the hobby or stop playing. If you stay in the hobby again and 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 again over an edition changes. I mean, I started this channel in 7th. I started seriously playing 40k in 4th. I've been in the hobby since Rogue Trader, collecting, playing back then. There hasn't been a bad edition. There's been ones I've preferred over others. Same in Heresy. There's been ones I've preferred over others. But if you get to a point where, like, this is me now. I'm a fisherman. I'm going to do it all my life. This is me now. I'm a golfer. This is me now. I'm a Warhammerer. I'm going to be doing it all my life. And so long as I'm rolling dice, having fun in a room with my friends, I'm enjoying the hobby. And a lot of my friends are playing Old World. And so long as I'm rolling dice in a room with my friends, I'm going to be having fun. So I'm dipping my tip into Old World. Just the tip. That's all I'm doing. That Warriors of Chaos army looks amazing with a big dragon, and I really want to get it, but I'm only doing the Beastman. So Conflict 40, and the reason why I've resisted getting so long into Old World is because Warhammer churn is breaking my tiny brain, and Horus Heresy on top of that is breaking my tiny brain. I talked about earlier in the live stream. I can't. It's almost too much Warhammer in 40k to keep up with now, with the constant churn and with the Minotaur and Field Manual and with the points updates and all the... It's huge. So many more factions, so many more detachments. The Orc Codex is going to have 17 detachments in it. That's one book. There are 23 factions in Warhammer 40k. Each of them has 10. That is 200 detachments. But they're not going to have 10. Some of them are going to have 17. Some of them... There's going to be 300 detachments in Warhammer 40k by the end of this edition. 300. I got 12 factions. I can't keep up with that. Let alone my own factions. It needs to... It's too much. I can't do Conflict 47. I can barely do this one. I issued an apology earlier in the stream because I made a mistake with the terrain rules. A public apology, getting ahead of the PR nightmare there. I'd love one-page rules. I'd love to do the conflict. I'd love to do the Blood Bowl. And I am amazed by people who can play more than one system more of the time and keep that locked in their brain. You guys are absolute legends. But my tiny brain, I can barely breathe and walk at the same time. I'm hanging in there with just the Warhammers. So that's why no to Conflict 47. And I play a bit of Blood Bowl behind the scenes as well. We do a bit of Blood Bowl. Didn't move into the new edition. Did anyone move into the new edition of Blood Bowl? I don't know anyone who plays Blood Bowl who started playing the new edition of Blood Bowl. I wonder how successful it was, the new edition sales-wise. Because all the Blood Player players I know didn't touch it. And I wonder if that will happen in Necromunda as well, with the new Necromunda. Let's lock into the chat and see what the chat is getting up to. I've been ignoring you for a while. And then we'll get on to reveals. The Badger King is in his house. He's been a member for 13 months. Thank you, you absolute legend. Hello, Warham peeps. Hope you're all glorious. I'm glorious, the Badger King. I hope you're glorious too. We love you. What do I think of the new Ultramarine model? I think there are not enough Marneus Calgar models in this world, and I want to see more Marneus Calgar models. That is absolutely glorious. He stood on a rock. I want to see Marneus Calgar. We haven't had a captain on a bike yet. Okay. I want to see him on a bike. I want to see him on a speeder. I want to see him riding a Land Raider. Had a Super Bowl Saturday where I had to do a 40k league game, a Blood Bowl league game, a game of chess, and some Magic the Gathering. My brain was not good at the end of that. Exactly. Crazy. Yeah. So Kill Team, when? I am tempted by Kill Team. Just the tip. Just one army. Now I'm playing Green Tide in 40k, pretty much turn the brain off. Yeah, I mean, so there are some things in 40k which is forward, like World Eaters are a good example of that, which is forward in 40k or 30k. World Eaters go forward. Did someone say backwards? No, kill him. Ugh. Forward, that's what they do. That's why I like playing Orcs and against Orcs, because they're going forward, so it's very, you know. Marneus Calgar in a Crisis Suit model. I need to see that. You should have gone Kill Team before Old World. Paint a dragon if you want. Look, guys, okay? You all know that I am a massive Eldar fan. And when these bad boys come out, okay, elves riding space dragons in space, you know I'm going to be playing Kill Team. Because this is coming out in Kill Team originally, right? Isn't it? Warhammer. Kill Team Exodite. Kill Team Exodite. Okay, look at them. Look at them. These things are going to sell out. Elves riding dragons in space. When did that get announced? I think it was about a week ago. Big summer preview. Exodites are revealed. Exodites are officially coming to Warhammer 40k Kill Team. Yes, baby. Look at it. We've been talking about it for years and years and years. Look at this one. I mean, he's quite cute. Look at the one at the end. He's quite cute. But look at the one. That is really cute with a sniper rifle on top of the thing and the great the paint job they've done on these models is incredible. But look at the one at the end. Look at that. That one's called what is it called? Dragon Knight. This is an Exodite Dragon Knight. Can I make him go? That's another version of an Exodite Dragon Knight. Look at that. A lance weapon. A lance weapon. I wonder if it's got a gun as well. Isn't that a bright lance? So that's strength 9, AP3, D6 plus 1 damage. Literally a bright lance, which he's using as a lance. Elves riding dragons in space. How great is Cephas Cain? Cephas Cain, that model is incredible. We looked at that one last week. Love the Cephas Cain model. Straight to Legends, unfortunately. They're moving it straight to Legends. But yeah, Cephas Cain. They did Gaunt's Ghost. I mean, I'm pleased that you can get the Gaunt's Ghost models. I'm pleased that they do the Cephas Cain models. They did the Eisenhorn model, but that's already gone. So it looks like if you want things like Gaunt's Ghost or Cephas Cain or Eisenhorn, models like that, you have to pick them up as soon as they're available because they will be gone. It's like a badass dragon, but with an Eldar on top. It's like the model version of a walnut whip. I think Eldar Exodites are going to sell a lot because I think most people collect and paint. They don't play. And collecting and painting that, there's nothing like it in 40k. Dragons are now officially in 40k. I think they're going to sell a lot, and I think we're going to see Eldar Exodite range being added to an Eldar, like Imperial Assassins not Imperial Assassins, Imperial Agents have Assassins in, and this in, and that in, and da-da-da. The Eldar can have a Dark Eldar book, they can have a Craftworld Eldar book, and they could have an Eldar Allies book, whatever you want to call it, and put their pirates in it, the Corsairs in it, the Harlequins in it, Ynnari in it, these guys in it, and expand the range and make a lot of money. There will be Dino Elves in 40k. Dinosaur Elves in 40k is just, why not? The galaxy's got 200 billion stars in it. Let's have a few dinosaurs. Fuck yeah. So that's good. The only real reveal I could find in this week's Warhammer community, they revealed lots of rules and things and legend stuff for the legend stuff for Old World, but what they did reveal was this fella who is Grell Firefist brings a cannon to a knife fight. So the Ogre Moor tribes are coming to AOS, and this is Grell. This is their named. This is about it that have been released this week. I got like, Ogre Hunters. Now, chat. Does anyone play AOS anymore? I get the feeling that AOS is kind of hurting right now. Do you know anyone who plays AOS? Is there anyone in the chat who plays AOS? Because I don't hear a lot about AOS. AOS is popular in my area? Nice. Anyone else? Why does AOS do badly when the models are so good? Dude, I mean, some of the AOS models are like angry Kit Kats. Some of the AOS models are some of the best models they've ever made. That India-Neth Deepkin stuff is incredible. Incredible. I see more Warhammer Fantasy Battle games than AOS. All of the AOS players at my local club seem to have moved to Mordheim. Not since 2nd edition. Yeah, the 2nd edition to 3rd edition wasn't great for them, was it? Like, AOS was the system that didn't feel like 40k, was more fun, was more casual. That's what AOS was. More fun, more casual, laid-back version 40k. And then 3rd edition came out, and they 40k'd it. And they made it quite competitive. And I think a lot of AOS players left then and moved to Old World. Apparently players and events have gone up, yes, but it really feels like an even greater ratio of people collect to paint it. Yes. Yeah, so I think they made it more event-friendly, more tournament-friendly AOS. And so the number of event players have gone up, but the number of overall players have probably gone down. And they're just collectors and painters. Double turn sucks and competitive focus now. Yes, okay. That's what I'm hearing. Okay, I got to go. Okay, got to go. Inquisitive Vex, thank you for stopping by. Have fun. Thank you for taking part in this week's Talkie Tuesday live stream. See, these are great models. Look at that. Look at that. Did you see the faces on the ogres that they've got in Solar Auxilia? Like, you need to keep all the masks on because the faces are so bad. And then this, whoever's making the models for AOS, these guys are just cooking. These guys look cool. Even the kitty cats look cool. I'm down with kitty cats, doggos, dragons, anything like that. I mean, look at the gun. Any doggos, dragons, kitty cats, dinosaurs in Warhammer 40k we need more of, and I know this is AOS. I have zero interest in playing the main game. Sounds correct. I collect a lot of AOS, but it's largely for painting and playing in Spearhead. Sold off all 8 armies and went to Old World. Oh my Emperor. Thank you to Deceiver 40k. Thank you. So yeah. I don't think AOS... I think AOS struggled when they went a bit competitive and a bit event-friendly. I think that's what happened with Horus Heresy as well. They went a bit competitive and a bit event-friendly. And they've got a competitive, event-friendly game system, and that's Warhammer 40k. And the people who really, really like that sort of thing play Warhammer 40k. And a lot of noobs and Timmies come into the system to play Warhammer 40k. And people who move on or get bored or get pushed out or are attracted to other systems or add new systems on top, who play Warhammer 40k and other systems, are looking for something other than competitive event focused games. They're looking for something a little bit different. So when they make those other games a bit more like their key game, their pillar game, I think it hurts those other games. The other games, I feel like, need to be their own things. The Old World is a really good example, exactly what it says on the tin. Old World needs to feel old, like the old systems. And it does. So they did that right. You know, that's what I think. And I've been banging on for a while. I'm running out of Voda Mineralna. And I think I ticked my boxes. I've put my... I did my mistake. Okay, I apologize for my mistake. I got ahead of that PR disaster. We talked about narrative. And I mentioned some of the reveals. I feel like this evening I've done a professional Warhammer live stream. And I've mainly talked about Warhammer for most of the evening. We only talked about food for 5 minutes. I think this was a banging one. If you've got any comments, questions and things like that, now's the time to drop them in there. This might be a 2-minute warning. We might still be here for 10 minutes. Who knows? But comments, questions, things, drop it in now. Please don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe. Attach your Twitch primes to your something account. That is something that streamers say. If you wanna drop a membership, that would be lovely as well. Always looking for new members in this economy to help pay the mortgage. You know what I mean? And if you become a tier 3 channel member, you'll get an extra battle report every single Winter's Wednesday. Tomorrow's is a 4,000 point Horus Heresy 3rd edition battle report with Imperial Knights versus the Iron Hands. It is a banger. It is a close game. The one at the weekend is Sunday's one. This Sunday is going to be an 11th head one. And I've got a second edition Horus Heresy one that I filmed, and I've got some Old World coming up, and I've got a lot more, obviously a lot more 11th edition Horus 40k on the way. Beer and Pretzels Gaming for the win. Yes, definitely locked in tonight. Thank you, Wrath. I thought I was pretty locked in, you know. I thought I was locked in. Steve, not Rob, he said, don't do the shit bits, lock in on the Warhammer bits. I'm trying. I need you to lock me in more, Wrath. Okay? Like, stay on target. We need more of that. GE9367 just gifted 5 memberships. You absolute legend. I love you. Thank you so much. Can we get a tsunami of GGs in the chat for GE? No, not GGs. Just GEs. Just GEs. A tsunami of GEs in the chat for supporting the channel. Thank you for gifting 5 memberships. And if you're one of the people who was gifted a membership, then you get access to the Winters SEO Discord for a month. And if you increase your membership by just £1, then you'll get a tier 3 access, and you'll get an extra battle report every single Winters Wednesday. GEs everywhere. Say Jackus Woods is on form. You put a GE. But Red Richmond and Stuart Fields is like GGs. But Stuart's is, you know, he talks like this, g'day, so he probably doesn't know what I'm saying half the time anyway. I think AOS, the reason why they've gone so event friendly is because events aren't quantifiable while casual isn't. What? Yeah. I think the reason why they like events isn't because of the quantifiability. I think because events help drive model sales. If the FOMO thing and the next thing, and that's why. GE's the Deceiver, well done. GE, thank you. Raffle Constantine's just put G's because he's American. The Deceiver, no, yeah. Haha, from Teesside. What? You're from Teesside? You live in the land down under. You've got hairy hobbit feet. Fanto sir, will you ever make more lore videos? Very keen. Lore videos are very never say never, but they take a lot of brain power over a long period of time. I need an idea. I can't see one on the horizon. And I'm glad you really like the lore videos, by the way. I'm glad you really do. Very satisfying to finally get it down, but it takes a lot. So we'll see. Need a big brain, exactly. I'd like an update on the 13th law. Me too. You know, I was thinking. I do have some ideas. I live in the land down under because I'm from Teesside. Have you ever been to Teesside? No, I've mentioned I got a couple of rules in life, and one of them is mainly don't go north or London. You know, there's just certain places that I want to stay away from. Yeah. Like I live in Swindon, but I never go to Swindon town centre. No. It is like a war zone down there. It is terrible. I live right on the edge of Swindon. You don't want to go anywhere near the middle. You will get herpes if you step out of the car. It is nasty. Anyway, guys, thank you for joining me on this week's Talking Tuesday live stream. I had a lot of fun. We did the Warhammers. Thank you for all the lovely comments and things. Thank you for joining me. And I need to remember to press the correct buttons and not screw this up. I think it's that one, then that one. Swindon is twinned with Mordor. Yeah, but Mordor's got... Mordor's nicer. It's easier air to breathe. Right, yes. So, new 13th character refresh models coming up. Yeah. Thanks for the stream, the content. You too, guys. You too. Turn off the thing. Press that. It should be... Now I've got the new PC. There should be one button. Let's see if this works. Thank you. Love you guys. Happy wargaming. Did it work? Did that one button work? Did it actually work? Did it stop the sound and the camera at the same time? I'm just chucking in. Did it work, guys? Did it work? Guys, did it work? Like, Sultan reset the thing when I got the new PC. It took him half a day. No, it didn't work. It worked. Did it work or didn't it work? You're still... I know I'm still here, but I'm asking, when I pressed that one button, did the sound cut in and the thing happen at the same time? Rather than beforehand, I had to press the thing and turn the microphone off and tell YouTube. Now I press a thing on something called a Stream Deck. I don't even know what that is. It sounds like something you would ride a boat down. But it's a new thing, and I press a button and apparently it does it. It worked. Night night, goodbye screen came up. Yeah, it worked. Brilliant. It worked. It worked. It worked. Thank you, Raging Horn. It worked. It went to CFAX. What do you mean it went to CFAX? How old are you? I remember CFAX. That was the internet of the 80s. And then that was brilliant, CFAX. Not one for the Americans there. It definitely did or didn't work. Right, I'm going. Happy wargaming.